let me ask you this. Um, I would imagine there's a certain element of blowback and hatred, like in the comment section when you make videos like this.
Oh yeah.
And how do you deal with that? That to me, that's always the biggest. That's always the biggest thing when anybody's social media, myself included, with my videos and stuff like that. When you get super hateful comments, how you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
Well, there's certain topics that are obviously more heated than others. Anything to do with Colin Kaepernick, I automatically get death threats on, and things like that. I will say that when it first started, it used to bother me a lot. But then I just kind of figured out that that's just part of it. And I figured out the more people are talking, the more people are seeing it, kind of thing, and so it's kind of a double-edged sword. The more people that are seeing it and are angry at you means the more people are seeing it in general. And so, some people get really crude, really mean, really dark. I do, I have kids. And so I have a daughter, and unfortunately, my daughter is targeted more than anyone else, sadly enough. And so,
do you get messages about your kids? Because I've gotten those as well, and it's like, man, those ones are hard. Those ones are real hard.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And so, the biggest thing is, for me, I don't really understand. No matter how much someone disagrees, how you can put, a child into it. But yeah, I have people threaten my daughter and all that kind of stuff, but that's unfortunately just part of it.
Yeah, those are the only comments that bother me is ones about my kid. Those are tough to swallow. I was watching Jamie Foxx on Joe Rogan a little bit back, and his biggest thing was don't read the comments. Just never read the comments. I'm not one who cannot read the comments. I'm assuming you're not either then.
Well, sometimes it gets a little to where I can't. It depends on the video. Some video has more shares, some videos have more comments. Sometimes my phone literally won't let me read all the comments.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of you can't pay attention to what some people say, because you'll crawl into a corner and just stay there if you do. So yeah, it's pretty hateful stuff sometimes.
Sure. So let's run down some of your hits here. Okay. Is Kaepernick the one you take the biggest hit for?
Kaepernick's a big one. Anything that even remotely seems like a racial conversation, and what I mean by that is, even if which I do, I go on camera and say that, racism is horrible in every facet of any type of the imaginations you could possibly imagine, right?
Right.
I'm still a white guy that has no idea what I'm talking about, and therefore people are upset about it, and so anything in that regard, anything super controversial, transgender, anything black or white, anything Colin Kaepernick, people, anything about Colin Kaepernick is this huge debate.
Yeah, we share the same hatred for Colin Kaepernick, by the way. And I get the same blowback as well.
Yeah. And so, and it's my opinion. It's how I feel about it. And so, yeah, there's just certain topics that people can't have actual discussions of how they feel. They just get upset. So a great person once said to me, people can't argue truth with anything but emotion. And so if people are getting emotional and mean and hateful, well, then that kind of lets you know what side of the fence you're on.
Exactly. And what about your Trump videos?
Trump. Well, what I do is, obviously I voted for Donald Trump and things like that. And I tell people that all the time. And so I'm also very open, and I tell people, do I think that Donald Trump was the absolute best candidate we could have ever had? No, I don't believe that, because I don't believe anybody is the absolute best candidate ever. However, I wasn't voting for Hillary.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so I always tell people, instead of getting upset about Trump and Hillary, ask yourself, why were they the only ones?
Yeah.
Why were they the only ones to vote for? And so, but what I do is I try my best to not be so one-sided in what I say. I feel like a lot of times what I say, I leave a lot of things open for individual interpretations.
Right.
So instead of just saying, "Ooh, I love Trump," and I love reading Trump's Twitter account, and all like that. I let people do the thinking and do the saying for me. Okay, if that's what you think that I said, sure, go for it. That's not really what I said, but yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, look, I'm in the same camp with you because I voted for Trump. I don't shy away from it. Some people, refuse to talk about it publicly, which is crazy to me. But I'm with you, where I always try to figure out who the best candidate is. I've voted Democrat in the past. I've voted Republican in the past. I try to sit down and look at the best people, and I'm with you on this one. Like, I'm not saying Trump was the greatest candidate of all time, but he was better than Hillary. So that's
exactly.
That's who I voted for. It was as simple as that. How do you think he's doing right now in office?
I think, my personal opinion is I think that he's what we need right this second. And what I mean by that is, you can't take away the fact of jobs that he's creating. You can't take away the fact of the Dow and all this stuff being up. I mean, you just can't. Like the left side of the media will want to take away from the facts, and the stock market and all these things that have improved immensely since he has taken office, because they just don't like him. And so, I think that he's what we needed. I think that the economy needed to improve. I think that American jobs needed to improve. I think that other countries looking at America and what America is prepared to do to either defend itself or get your country to shut your mouth, one of the two. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I would much rather have someone who might not always make the right decision, but at least they're enough of a leader to make a decision.
Sure.
If that makes sense. And so I guess that's the military in me, is I would much rather have somebody that, is actually capable of making a decision and then sticking by the decision and then going for it.
Same. And, if you're trying to make huge changes in the country itself, it's going to be unpopular. And I've told my listeners this for a long time now. You're not going to be able to truly tell how great or terrible a president is for at least another 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not. And as we're going through it now, like, he's 1 year in on the job. To me, I'm with you. He's done a fantastic job with the economy. The market's through the roof. This is the lowest unemployment level for African Americans since 1970.
Exactly.
I don't know how much there is to hate other than like me personally, like, because I'm not saying he's perfect either. I wish he would not tweet as much. And some,
yeah.
So, like, some of the ridiculous shit of tweeting, and where I'm just like, man, you would probably go on to be a legend if you just didn't tweet so much. Just don't give them, the ammunition with this stupid shit and care about ratings and things like that.
Right.
That's my biggest takeaway so far of him as a president. Like, everything he's doing job wise, I approve. Like, as far as being a commander in chief on the job, the decisions he's making, great. I think this country needed them. If you take the Twitter out of the equation, it makes a big, probably more people would like him.
Right. No, I agree with you. It's just simply, I've said it in my videos a couple times. A lot of people don't so much have a problem with what Donald Trump says. They just don't like it because Donald Trump's the one that said it.
Right. Right.
And so anyway, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I sit in that whole fence right there.